What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? T to the M to the IDD here with another 5 things you should know about off-camera flash photography. And in this particular video, I wanted to focus on things that could take your portrait to the next level using creative lighting, as well as techniques with off-camera flash that you may find beneficial given the circumstance you may find yourself in. Now, before we get into this, I want to give a special shout out to Full Aim. Full Aim sent me this wireless lavalier microphone system to try out, and so right now in this video you will be hearing the audio system from this wireless microphone set. Now, of course, inside of this box you get 2 transmitters and 1 receiver, and I'm actually going to open it up. We have a magnetic box, and we have some manuals. We get a carrying case that has all of the essentials: windscreens, charging adapters, and you can actually connect this with multiple devices, whether it is the camera or a cell phone. So you get multiple uses, and inside you can store your receiver and your 2 transmitters inside of this rechargeable case. So I'll leave a description and the link down below. So if you want to try it out, this is the Full Aim 1000 Pro. Okay, now I'll put that link in the description. Check it out if you are looking for an audio system. Now let's get into the details of this video. Now, the first set is from a photo shoot that I did maybe 2 years ago, but this is a creative lighting technique that I use to separate the image and provide a little bit more interest in the back of the background. Now, this was a 2 light setup, and what I used was the second light to provide more of a creative look. And so you can see a color gel was pointed down at the steps, and that kind of separated the steps and popped the subject out just a bit more, but overall made the image a little more creative than just having the model sit on the steps. Now, I was able to do this by adding 2 color gels in my Godox 8200, and of course I have a video that I will link where you could check out the full video with this particular photo shoot. Now, this is one technique that I use when I want to just add a little more special sauce to my image, and I think it worked well with all of the colors blending together. So using a second light to light additional things that may be in your environment could be pretty useful in taking your portrait to the next level, right? So that is number 1. Now, number 2, also a technique that I use when I have some assistance, but if you have a C-stand with a boom arm, you can perform this yourself as well. And this is a 1 light setup just over top of your subject. And in this particular case, I used a yellow color gel because we were going for a golden type look. So I knew that the yellow would work well with the gold shimmer that we had on the model. And so luckily for me, at this time, I had her friend assist me, and she kind of just angled the Godox 8200 with the color gel over top of the model, and we got kind of this beam of light dropping over top of the model, which was beautiful because it gave deep shadows in certain places, and then other places were illuminated and exposed very well. So you just had a nice mix of shadows and highlights, which worked well for this image being tucked in with nature. So That could be something that you could try out, positioning your flash unit in different places overhead of the model rather than the traditional butterfly or side lighting and other positions like that. So that is a second creative approach to placing your off-camera flash light. So number 3, one of my favorite things to do, and this is moody lighting. By far, when I started photography and came into this space where it was such a dramatic change between highlights and shadows, the dramatic look that I got, I instantly fell in love with it. And so moody lighting is another way that you can use off-camera flash. Now, of course, you can do these things with continuous lights, but off-camera flash is just my go-to, right? So with moody lighting, you have different type of ways that you can create this, whether you feather the light, whether you angle it high. It is a ton of ways to do this. One of my favorite ways to do it is utilizing grids. If you utilize grids, you can get some of the best moody lighting that I have ever seen. And so try to incorporate that into your workflow. If you never use a grid, try using a grid. If you never feather your light, try feathering your light. You will be amazed to see those types of changes that occur and the difference in the image from adding those techniques to your arsenal. Okay, moody lighting. So number 4, we have harsh lighting. Now, I have said this time and time again that harsh lighting is something that takes practice to being able to shoot in and being able to still make it look flattering because the light is just so harsh. But where the off-camera flash comes into play is being able to balance that natural harsh light from the sun with a flash unit. And in this particular case, what you can do is try to match the aesthetic. So a lot of the times we use light modifiers to get that nice soft light. Well, in this case, you can do just the opposite. You can use the strobe without a light modifier, and that will give you harsh light. So effectively what you have is harsh light coming from the sun and you have harsh light coming from the strobe, and finding that balance between the two so that the aesthetic matches. And then you have a perfectly exposed harsh light image that is just beautiful because you were able to, if you have the subject backlit, which is what happens in most cases using off-camera flash, then you can bring in your flash unit and fill in those shadows with a harsh light source, but still make it look flattering. So harsh lighting is another way that you could use off-camera flash. And then finally, we have number 5, the 5th way that you could use off-camera flash for creative lighting or something that you might just need in your particular situation is using multiple flash units. Now, most of the time people use one light, and one light, I will not lie, is probably one of my go-tos, just because I'm pretty lazy sometimes. But when you start to introduce 2, 3, and 4 lights, first of all, I feel like if you are just experimenting, that is totally fine. But sometimes you want to have a reason for why you are adding an additional light, whether you need a fill light, whether you need a rim light, whether you need separation from a background. Try to be intentional about why you are adding that second, third, or fourth light. And so in this case, when you add those lights, it can increase the 3-dimensionality of the image. It can help pop the subject out from the background. If it's a hair light, it definitely can add separation. But try to have a point and why you are adding that light. But try to do it if you don't typically use multiple lights in your setups. And I promise you, you will find that it looks phenomenal. And in most cases, it is going to take your portrait to the next level. Hence why a lot of people use the sun as a second light when they're shooting outside, because it adds a nice rim. So if you're in the studio, if you're outside and it's a cloudy day and there is no sun, that can add some interest to a flat image. Having a backlight and having a main light could particularly turn your image from being flat and boring to something that's really interesting. So that is 5 ways that you can use off-camera flash to take your portraits to the next level, to be creative, and like for harsh lighting, use it in a way that will complement what you are doing. So there is always something that could be done for a situation you are in, and just knowing which setup will work best for you could ultimately improve your portrait and take it to the next level. So T to the M to the IDD. I hope these things were helpful. I hope that you utilize them, and leave in the comments what is your favorite lighting setup. I will catch you in the next one.